And we're just going to finish the journey this morning now and hopefully help us understand that how a relationship with Jesus, what we've been thinking through, particularly in the evenings, how that really does transform us, and then our talents and our relationships that we've got. So we watched a video the other day of you and Josh chatting you through, and so we've got another one now of you guys talking particularly about some of the stuff we thought about yesterday morning, and then we'll unpack the rest. So let's watch this together.
There's nothing better than a comeback. At the back of the pack, but then emptying the tank and crossing the line first. What a feeling.
There's nothing like it. It's what sport is all about. So many great sporting moments have been comebacks against seemingly impossible odds.
I know, sporting comebacks are amazing. But today, let's look at a comeback that is even better than those that sport can provide. The comeback that puts us back in the race. We know that, just like Adam and Eve, our relationship with God has been broken. We misuse our talents for our own gain, and our relationships with others have been fractured.
Yeah, and that extends to our sport too.
But in Romans, Paul tells us the amazing news that, because of what Jesus has done, we can now reflect God in our talents and relationships. And in Romans 12, Paul tells us exactly how we are changed by Jesus. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Wow, so if I've understood right, we can now use our bodies as worship to God. Instead of following the pattern of the world, where we're disconnected from God, we can be changed and renewed by Him?
Exactly. What a comeback. Just think about that in the context of your sport. Now, with a restored relationship with God, our talents and relationships can be used and enjoyed as they were meant to be.
That's amazing for sure, but it all seems a bit abstract. How does this actually apply when I'm on the track?
Well, Paul goes on further in this passage. He shows us that we've been given talents by God. For us, that means we are born to jump, to swim, to run. It is an act of worship to use the talents God has given us on the pitch. And our relationships are now changed too. Paul says we honour others above ourselves. We share with those who are in need. And we do this with everyone, with teammates, but also with the opposition too.
Wow, that's awesome. But it's also intimidating. It doesn't sound easy to live that way in the heat of the moment.
And that is why this is the greatest comeback of all time. We aren't separated from God anymore. And it is only through our new relationship with God that we can change to worship Him in our sport. Our body can be a living sacrifice that we can use to worship Him. Your talents as a sports person can be used to represent and celebrate the God who gave them to you. And you can do it with people you love in your team and the opponent who's against you in a match. Because of Jesus, we are back in the race.
Awesome. Well, let's think about this for a few minutes before we head out to First Sport, shall we? As the guy said on the screen there, this is all done in view of what God has done for us, yeah? We thought about that yesterday morning. We don't have to live a certain way to prove ourselves to God. Your sport is not about you proving yourself and performing to form your identity. It's not about all these different things that we put pressure on ourselves. We've been given a new image by the mercy of God. That can free us. It can liberate us. You don't have to get pulled around by all the different messages and pressures of the world. But it also then allows us to live differently, to really then start to live out our faith, if we trust in Jesus, in all areas of life, including our sport. So we're just going to finish off this triangle image together, okay? So Jen, if you can, firstly, read these verses up on the screen, because this is where the writer Paul talks about how a transformed life in Jesus changes how we use our gifts and talents. Have a read.
So it's Romans 12. Do not think of yourselves more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment or honesty, in accordance with the faith God has given to each of you. For just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Jesus we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us.
Okay, so basically, if you've got a gift, go and use it. he talks about a body has loads of different parts here and functions. And he's almost saying that firstly, that a church is like that, with lots of different people in with different gifts and talents. But then life, more broadly speaking, is like that. Yeah, we have different gifts. Some people maybe are musical. Other people are very good at cooking and baking. Other people have different skills and gifts. That's what we're given by God. Firstly, in the original creation, but actually it's restored when we come back into relationship with Jesus. And he's almost saying, go on, let that come out. You know, find that gift and let it flourish. Whatever it is, go for it. There's one shop my family and I love to visit. It's this place. Anyone a fan of Decathlon?
Yeah, big fan.
Honestly, we go there as a family. It takes us about 3 hours to get out. They want to try every sport. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, if you're into your brands, you're not going to go there. But, you know, I love it because you've got everything. You've literally got every sport you can dream of. And actually, it's so cool seeing the kids have a go at it. Just trying to, you know, pull down a massive paddle board, which is a bit naughty, or pull out, you know, the basketball and the hockey stick, and they're just having a go. That shop almost kind of captures, sporting talent. It's like a picture of all these different sporting gifts that we have to be able to enjoy. And see, this is the case now. If we trust in Jesus, if we understand all he's done for us, we can now, with our sporting gifts and talents, use them. Josh said it in the video. We can use it to honor and represent Jesus. As you step onto the pitch, jump into the pool, hop on your bike, whatever your sport is, it's not just you performing here. It's a chance for you to flourish, enjoy, and make God look like the good God that he is. It's like a big thank you card. Your talents, your gifts to play sport can be used to worship God. So that's the talents. Let's think then about the relationships together. Question for you. Turn to the person next to you. What's the best bit of sportsmanship you've ever seen? Maybe you're on the receiving end of it. Maybe you've seen something on TV. What's the best bit of sportsmanship you think you might have ever witnessed? Go, have a chat. I can't say this. Medal. All right. Back in. Jen, best bit of sportsmanship you've seen?
I remember watching at the time the video of the Brownlee brothers that we watched the other night, where they're helping each other to get over the line. You know, that is just some class sportsmanship.
It was awesome. It was great. At the Olympics, actually, we'll know it for 3 medals, gold, silver, and bronze. But you know what? The Olympics have actually got a 4th medal they give out. It's not done on a podium. It's not done massively in front of people there and then. But it's an award they give out, a medal they give out that really kind of honours sportsmanship in its purest form. And a few years ago, they gave an award out to 2 women who were competing in the Olympics. You may or may not have seen it, but there's a little picture here of them competing in a long-distance race. It's Nikki Hamlin and Abby D'Agostino from America. And as sometimes can happen in a race, I think it's Hamlin trips just in front of the American. She stumbles and causes the American then to stumble. And what happens next really was a huge surprise, because as they both hit the deck, the American girl picks up the New Zealander and helps her back to her feet. Skip on one more for us, Bri. Helps her back on her feet. And so they start running along, but what happens is actually the American has actually badly injured herself, so much so she tore her ACL. But the New Zealander, instead of just tearing off and running ahead, starts to run next to her and starts helping her hobble along. She then hits the deck again, and she picks her back up. And they carry on running, and they carry on running, and the New Zealander goes ahead a little bit, and D'Agostino, the American, eventually finishes it. It was an amazing moment. It was so almost countercultural to the kind of real hyper top-level competitiveness that we see. These moments are great, aren't they? You see them just from time to time. And I always find it really interesting when we see these things, because you get a phrase that people say, which is, "Oh, it restored my faith in humanity." Mm-hmm. You know that phrase? It's a funny phrase, isn't it? Restored my faith in humanity, as if to say humanity isn't quite working the way it is. Yeah. Check out what the Olympic Committee said about it. D'Agostino and Hamlin's story is one of humanity and sacrifice, which has already captured the hearts of people across the globe. Why is it that when we see amazing moments of sportsmanship, pure, brilliant relationship, that we almost say that's humanity? Do you know why? Because it is. Because it's what the Bible says. Because it's the way God's designed us. We're designed to be in relationship. We're designed to encourage each other, to spur each other on, to live like that. And actually, most of the time when we see that uber competitive, ruthless, win at all costs attitude, it's not the way it's meant to be. Check out these verses then that help us think about that a little bit more. Can you read these for us again, please, Jen?
Absolutely. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position.
So look, once there was disunity, there was fallout. We saw that, didn't we, as the consequence of Adam and Eve's behavior. But let's be honest, every human heart since then. It doesn't have to be the case anymore. Mm-hmm. Through the work of Jesus and his transforming spirit inside of us, we can live in harmony. We can look after each other. We can bring out the best in each other. This is what Paul's saying here, both to the church, to Christians, to function together, loving each other. But you see, he takes it one step further, doesn't he? He's saying, look, just don't just love Christians, but love everyone. Hate the evil stuff. Bring out the best in each other. Bless even people who are shouting at you and abusing you for maybe your faith. You can still bless them. It's radical, this. It's absolutely amazing. And then so sport again provides us, doesn't it, with wonderful opportunities to flourish and spur each other on in our sport. See, what could it look like for you as you return to your sports clubs off the back of Sports Plus and you start a new season, just to make a decision to commit and ask Jesus to help you to be a brilliant teammate or a brilliant friend, whatever your sport is. To actually be the person, the girl or the guy in your club that is really spurring people on, the positive influence. Yeah? Now, we don't get it right every time. Of course we don't. Sometimes we do get frustrated. We get disappointed. We're tired. It's hard. But we're not alone. Jesus says, look, I've saved you, I'm in you, and I'm transforming you. And I'll help you to live this way. Sportsmanship moments, they're temporary, aren't they? Because they're just these glimpses. What could it look like for all of us to pave the way to that kind of sport all the time? So let's complete our triangle then. Here it is. Remember how it started, made in God's image, with talents and relationships that flowed from that. Then it all flipped on its head, remember? And instead of people being content with their image and using their talents and relationships, they use them to kind of rebuild the image. Well, now Jesus has transformed us. He gives us that new image, and therefore then our talents and our relationships can flow out of that. But it's temporary because it is broken and we do make mistakes. And it's only until we get to heaven that those lines fill back in and we see life the way it was designed to live in all its fullness. I can't wait to get to heaven. Can't wait to throw a rugby ball around with Jesus, because it's in that place that we will know that full, beautiful design once again. Listen, God's way, maybe this morning you sat there and you think, I'm not sure I like it. It's frustrating, it's hard, it's restrictive. Do you know what? I hit 16 or 17 years of age and I thought it was a load of rubbish, and I walked away completely thinking Christianity was not for me. It was only until I actually started to think about this properly that I realized, no, God is a good God who loves us. His design is for my best, for the world's best, and for his glory, and that includes my sport. I'd love for you to think about that for yourself and go from here, living your faith out in your sports club. So let's go for it. Let's finish off our moves. We've got all 4 on the screen just to help you. So born to play, broken by sin, transformed for worship. And the last one we're going to do is called to live. And I want to see some serious living. All right, let's do that one more time. Called to live. Right, let's do all of them all together. Finish it off. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Born to play. Broken by sin. Transformed for worship. Called to live. Fantastic. Let's watch this video. We saw it on the first morning. This captures everything we've talked about. Go for it.
Let me tell you why we do it. Because we were born to play. Because it's in our blood and in our bones. Because God gave us talents, passions, and opportunities. And when we're playing sport, we know we were made for this. Yet we spoil it. We don't play the way God wants us to. We so often use sport to serve ourselves, to earn love, identity, glory, security, success, approval for ourselves. We rejected God. We try to replace Him and face the consequences. But God loved us and reached out to us through His Son, Jesus, who lived among us, who died for us so we can be forgiven, to free us from our sin. He rose up from death and offers us new life, a new relationship with God for everyone who returns to Him. That's why there's a new way to play. Wherever we are, whatever our sport, we remember God's love for each one of us. We remember the new life He's called us to. And now we play with joy and freedom, the sport we were born to play.